Hey there, it's Jaime from the Crafters Workshop. I'm coming to you live from my studio in New York. You are on Scrapbook-N-Memories page, I know, but we are doing a takeover. Don't worry, you're not alone. Courtney and her crew are going to be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions, if you want to know if she has something in stock, Courtney will be there. And she'll be helping you. I see we already have Vicky from New York. She's already logged on. I come with my own following. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Jaime, and I own the Crafters Workshop. Hey there, is Elena. And, oh, Vicky says hi. So I had a store. So a bunch of my groupies are logging on as well from wherever they've ended up after we closed. But we welcome you, and it's so nice to see you joining us today. So I'm going to talk a lot about stencil butter, which is one of our favorite things to talk about when we talk about stencils. We are known for our stencils, but as you know, stencils, they're a very tricky kind of animal. They don't like anything that's too wet. And if you found that you've been unsuccessful with stencils, it's very possible you got the stencil too wet. You used paint that was too ooey gooey, or your brush was too wet, or it could be a million things. But to address at least one of those things, we came up with something called stencil butter, and it comes in 46 colors, and Courtney, believe it or not, has all of them in stock. I can't say for how long. We're going to be on for an hour, and as you know, as we show something, you are welcome to put into the chat what it is, and I think you put sold. I think that's how you do it. So when you've decided you love something and you love it so much that you can't live without it, Courtney will hold it for you. As I think if you are registered with her or something like that. So it's in your basket and it's waiting for you. If you know Courtney, you know how this is done. So, so many people logging on. I love it, I love it, I love it. Good to see you. So I'm just trying to pull this up on my screen here so I can also see if you have any comments or questions. Oh, wow. I went to school in Missouri. I lived there for 4 years, and gosh, I tried so hard to get a job. It was in St. Louis, so unless you wanted to work, it's going back a little, I'm not going to tell you when, but like Ralston, Purina, Anheuser-Busch, Monsanto, if you wanted a job there, probably I could have gotten one, but I was like a weird art kid, and there were no jobs for me. So I had to come back to New York, where the rent was free and the food was good. And my folks lovingly let me move back into my childhood bedroom, and I worked in New York City for a while, and that was a grind. I ended up working in the fashion industry, which anybody who knows anything about that, it's a pretty awful place. If you work there now, bless you, but basically I got chewed up and spit back out, and I thought craft seems a little bit nicer. So I wrote a business plan, I opened a store, and then I just needed some good stencils. So I designed my own for the store, popped them up there, and people loved them. So I am very lucky that Courtney has asked me to be here today, and she carries our beautiful stencils and our stencil butter. And you ever have questions, you ever have, what do I do with this? You can always go to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and ask a question. We answer everybody's questions. Courtney is very, very knowledgeable too. And if you're in the store and you ask her, she'll probably just text me, and you'll get your answer pretty quickly. Speaking about quick, if anything runs out, definitely get on the waiting list. I know Courtney has a whole protocol for, something that gets loved up and then is out of stock. We ship quickly, and I already talked to Courtney about this. And if you're out of something, there are 3 on the shelf and you are number 4, if you commit to that 4th one, Courtney will order it for you, and you should have it by next week. So I don't want to speak out of turn. You talk to Courtney, but we turn stuff around really fast. We really know how you want it now, you're in love with it, you have a project, and we don't want to make you wait any longer than you have to. So we'll get started very soon. I just wanted to say hi, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to be working on. But this cool thing, you can kind of see, this is my little technique board, and it shows all the different ways that stencil butter can be played with. I know, it's kind of fun. Whether you are just making texture, isn't that fun? Whether you're watercoloring it, whether you're scraping it with our scraper tool, our butter spreader. This is finger painting, so is this. This is sponging. And right here, this is right through a stencil. Easy peasy. And as you can see, our stencil butters are not only dimensional, but I mean, they hold all of the peaks, all of the texture that you put down there. That's exactly how it's going to dry. Did you notice it also has a shimmer? Yeah, they all have a nice shimmer and they have a shine. So it's very special. It's also opaque. So I know there are other products on the market. I love all the people who make them. We're all friends behind the scenes. Mine just happens to be opaque. So that's one of the differences. I love the colors that I have, so I'm a little partial. So let's see what else. I will also, I mean, sometimes I just want to see what will happen if I just blend. Now this is on a piece of watercolor paper. And that's something, it's kind of important. There are times that you can use inexpensive paper, and there's times that you have to splurge for the good stuff. So if Courtney's out of watercolor paper, just ask her and she'll order some. But just to show, I mean, look, it's just, this is amazing. I finger painted this. It was really a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. If you have 3 colors of stencil butter, 8 colors, 46 colors. It's fun to open it up. You need a stack of baby wipes when you do this. But you start with, like, I go in rainbow order, so most likely I think I started with the yellow, and then I worked in a little bit of one of the greens, and from the greens I went to the blues, and I just kind of kept working it. And then from the yellows I also went into the oranges and into the reds and into the purples and the pinks. So they all blend. You know, if you're unsure, you can purchase a color wheel, you can look up a color wheel online, and just, if you stay in color order, Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, Roy G, green, blue, purple, and purple back to red, and then orange and yellow. If you stay in Roy G. Biv and you stay away from going across, you know, you don't want to mix red and the green, that'll make mud. You don't want to mix orange and blue, although they vibrate and they're very pretty, but if you mix them when they're wet, you're going to get a very dulled down brown, gray, black. And then also purple and yellow. You don't want to blend those. So if you just stay in color order, you'll have a fun little sheet. This is kind of like a fun little cheat sheet. And then the nice thing about stencil butter, it dries. And then whatever permanent pen you have, I have one here. I have like a Sarasa, but Pitt pen or Pigma, Micron. You could even write what colors, you know, this could be your little sheet that shows you, oh, that's right, this one right here, this is turquoise. Okay, now I know what it looks like. And then maybe you're trying to connect it with one of the dye inks that you have, or one of the any of the ink pads, and you want to see if it's close. You know, then you have a swatch. You can make a little swatch, or you can swatch a piece of paper and put it up to it, so you know how it's going to look. So like I said, this is on a piece of watercolor paper, and see how I'm bending it? The other cool thing about stencil butter is that it's flexible. And I was going to, let's see, so we're going to be using our palette paper pad. And what is a palette paper? Well, it's a palette, and it's a pad, and it has like a waxed paper, and there are 30 sheets. Yeah. So I used this a little while ago, and then when I'm ready for a fresh surface, so I just up in the air. It's actually it's glued at the bottom and at the top, so it doesn't move around while I'm doing my art. But then I think I've got one. So now what I do is I just grab it from the corner and I tear it off, and now I have ready to go a fresh surface, a fresh palette to mix my paints, and this goes into the garbage. But what I saved from another project was this is what I was working on, and I ended up with a little extra stencil butter that dried. And you know, I mean, I use the stencil butter when I can, but I was probably crunched for time. Otherwise, I definitely would have made some extra papers, and I'll show you how I do that. But so I had extra on here, and I'm like, I'm not going to throw it away, because you know what I did? I let it dry, and because this is a wax surface, watch what I do. I can, yeah, there we go. I can just peel it. Did you see me do that? Look at that. I peeled off. Look at that. And then, so you're like, okay, that's really weird, Jamie. No, there's some of you out there going, holy crap, that's amazing. Okay, I'm talking to you. If you thought this was holy crap amazing, it's dimensional. Well, then I just take my matte gel medium and I put it down on paper, and then I put this down, and now I can apply all of these little globules. Look at that. Look at how cool that is. I've got this globule. I've got, look at this. This I'm going to pull up. Oh yeah, just pick that right up. That was turquoise. This one is lime green. Oh, ha, ha. Look at how fun that, look at, that's like 1/4 of an inch high. I can just add dimension just for little googly guys. And what's neat is, yes, you could certainly leave globs and make interesting things, but you won't get like stuff that is like, look at that. I mean, and then you can overlap. You can collage these. These are like collage pieces. Okay. All right, for everyone else, now you can keep listening again. I know there were like 20 of you who were like, that is so cool. All right, I'm putting that aside. It takes a special person to get that. Okay, what else are we gonna show today? Well, something else I like to do, and you may want to do this also, is like all the techniques I'm gonna show you, I made little pieces of paper and let them dry. And then I put them through my die cut machine. By the way, this one is with salt. It's with kosher salt, watercolored. I'll show you how to do that. Get ready. I hope you went to the bathroom. I hope you have your cup of tea or cup of coffee ready, because, well, we are recording this, so I guess you can come back, but it's gonna be so much fun. Okay, so this is my little, like, what do I want to do? What technique do I want to do? And then I can report back. I can refer back. That's the word. Refer back to this. Okay. Breathing. I am going to flip the camera over. Give me a sec. And then we're gonna get crazy. Okay. Let me just. I gotta do this right. Okay. I think that is, oh, hang on a second. If I want it this way, I'm going to flip, hang on. Rotate my phone. Let's see if it worked. It worked. Okay, thank you for your patience. I think I've got this. Hope I've got this. I got that. Okay. All right, I am just going, you have your tea. I love that. Let's see. Karen, you're awesome. Okay, I'm just checking to see palette paper, please. After applying stencil butter to paper, can you put it through an embossing folder? Oh my goodness, Rhonda. Yes, ma'am. Hold on. I love this. So what I've just, ooh, I just lost some colors. What I just put here Let me take out the stencils that I might play with. This is one of my, ooh, hop up, hop up, 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 up. Hold on, I see we're upside down. Hold on. Dude. I don't think it's going to, it's not gonna. Oh, the joys of going live. Okay, well, I don't know why it won't, it's being poopy, but it is. Okay, let's see. It's gonna give you a slightly different view. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a secret. This is my first live in our new studio. So you are my guinea pigs. So thank you. All right. I see now we are right side up. Yay. And we were just asking about the embossing folder. So these are all of my blue and purple and red papers that I have made whenever I have leftover stencil butter. And I'll show you more of these, but see, here is orchid watercolor with a little navy. And this was through an embossing folder. So you see, and also, you know, you can put the embossing folder this way or the other way, and it kind of depends on what it's going to do. But the very cool thing is you can kind of see, even when I watercolor paper with the stencil butter, you still get that shimmer. Isn't that fun? So I'll just, we're here, so I'm going to give you a little preview of what stencil butter can do. This is watercolored. And the reason I'm showing you this is because watercolor paper, you know what that looks like. It's got, you know, usually there's a textured side and a flat side. Watercolor paper is absorbent. It's special. It is able to take on more moisture than just regular paper. So, but the thing is, like, if you're like me and you like things to be a bit matchy-matchy, like, I want the paper to match what I'm working on. So whenever I have leftovers and a little bit of time, I just make paper. So this is with a little bit of water. This is an example of very little bit of water and a lot of water. And I mean, honestly, I have little pieces of paper left over. This is what I do. I just, because I might just use this section. I might just use this as a background. I might punch things out. I might dye things out. What else? Ooh, I sometimes I just paint. This is painted ombre. This is navy, cornflower. I'm not sure what navy is. Oh my god. Oh, maybe no, it wasn't denim. It was definitely navy. So this is navy. Look at that. Look how gorgeous that is. One of our best sellers. Cornflower. And then, knowing me, I think I did pearl white right up the middle. And that's how we got that little stripe of white right there. So navy, pearl white, cornflower blue. So delicious. So I keep them all in here. Here's this I scraped when I have even just a little bit left. You're like, what do you do with something scraped? Well, hang on. Do I have a bunch of samples? I do, but hold on. Scrape. I went through all of my samples yesterday, but I can't pull that up real fast. Anyway, think of something like this on a slimline card, and then you put some words, or you put a sticker, you know, love you or something across there. Maybe you trim it a little bit more, but it just goes on a slimline card. How gorgeous is this? If you're wondering what that is, I'm pretty sure orchid and cornflower blue and navy. And this one here is violet. Pretty. Where's my orchid? I'll find it. Because, oh, look at that. We love orchid. Gorgeous. So I've made it so that these colors, many of them are good friends. So here is navy. What an amazing color this has proven to be. This was like watercolored on, and then I took crumpled up paper towel and sponged off color. Isn't that amazing? I am going to do this. I promise. But I figured I'd get you all excited. Look at this. How silly is this? This is watercolored. And then here's my handy dandy kosher salt. And I just keep my salt in there. And I just threw it on there, and you let it dry. And the salt sucks all of the moisture and the pigment. So you get these wonderful starbursts. Isn't that fun? I'm just seeing, after applying stencil butter, can you put it through an embossing folder? Okay, I got that. You're good with brown. I'm backing up so many different ways. Yes. If you want to touch the board. Oh yeah, so Courtney has a board at the store. Do you put water on the paper before or after the butter? I think what you're asking, and you can do it both ways. Sometimes I pre-moisten the surface of the paper and then I brush, and sometimes I just go straight to it. Both ways are fine because, you know, it's art and you can do whatever you want. Oh, look. This is stencil butter painted on. So I did ombre again with a sponge brush. So this is navy, probably navy into cornflower and cornflower into orchid. Look at that. I mean, this is so opaque. And let me just tilt it. Look at, I mean, it almost looks like metal, but again, nothing is cracking. So it's very flexible, and it goes through your die cut machine and your embossing folder. We use that salt technique when dyeing silk, of course, because paper is really like a fabric. Stencil butter is like Lay's potato chips. You can't have just one. It's true, it's true. Some more pretty colors. This is just some, I think this is probably cornflower and violet. Yep, mixed together. Again, the sponging technique. I mean, how wonderful. Imagine this as a background and you're stamping. Let's say you decide to stamp this and you decide to color it. I mean, if you are not one of those grungy mixed media, everything is messy kind of people, don't think of yourself as like, oh, well, I can't use stencil butter. No, imagine now you have this beautiful paper and now you do your pretty fussy cutting, or now you do your very, very careful stamping, and then you do your coloring with markers or watercoloring or painting on top of it. So as you can see, I am never at a loss. Oh, okay, this was cool. I don't know if we'll get to this. What I discovered was I made this paper, okay, then I tore it, and I was going to use it for something, and I thought, oh, but it doesn't really have enough pow at the edge. So all I did was I took a little wet paintbrush and with water, and I wet the edge a little bit, just where I tore it. And then I dipped my paintbrush, I dried it, I dipped it into some of, this is probably navy stencil butter, and this is cornflower, and this one is, what did I call that guy? Violet. And then I just kind of painted the edge so that it would give it a little definition. And then imagine for your card or for your scrapbook page, like if this was a card, and it would just come up right there. Or maybe you make this into a little pocket and you put a photo in there, or you put a keepsake in there. So it just gives it a little bit of definition. Easy peasy, right? Okay. So that's my fun little, this is my purple, blue, and pink drawer. And I make paper, and then I throw it in there. So like that. So let me just put some things aside. And I don't want to forget, we're going to talk a little bit about this particular stencil. This is a fun one. This is the Layered Lotus Bouquet. And there are a bunch of ways. And the one thing I didn't talk about was, can you see the little, can you see that bubble? See how it's bubbled? That's called bubbling your butter. And we do that with the heat gun as it's drying. So we will hopefully get to that. So I know that Courtney has a bunch of these very cool layering stencils, and just to quickly talk about it, everything is on one sheet. You can't lose it. And it's got little score marks. So here we go. See that little score mark? That's so that you can cut the card the exact size and you can line it up. So we will talk a little bit about that. But I'm gonna pull out my watercolor paper. Here we go. Watercolor paper. I'm gonna do this one since I'm making some pretty stuff. I think I'll do it with the textured side up. Oop, I just lost a color. Okay, I am using my palette pad. And I'm going to use a palette knife. And the fun part is finding colors that play nicely together. I know we did a lot of talking about navy and cornflower and orchid. Those are fun to play together. Okay, we will play with those. Which one? I think, and did I just, violet. Look at those. I think those are our newest colors, so why not? Let me show you how we play. So I'm gonna get a baby wipe ready. And I'm opening the jar. Oh my gosh, is this your first time looking at this? Look at how delicious. So we call it stencil butter. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? It is the consistency of room temperature butter, like as if you're going to go make some Toll House cookies, you know, and you have to let it sit on the counter for a little while, and it's so soft that you can like put your finger through it. This one is orchid, and I'm just going to put some down here. And the reason I am taking it out of the jar and then closing the jar again is because this air dries, and not only does it air dry on your project, it will also air dry in your jar if you don't close it. Let's see, did I want to do it that way? Hold on a sec. I think, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it this order. I like this. Okay, taking some of that, putting it down. That was cornflower blue, drying. You don't want to contaminate the jar. That's why I'm wiping my palette knife in between. I mean, just look at that. Can you see that? I'll come up a little closer. Look at that. It's so pretty. Okay, enough of that, Jamie. Here we go. So that was the navy. Put these guys up here. And I know. We'll do something with a stencil, because why not? We do love stencils. I'm going to take this particular stencil. This is TCW 975. It's a 6x6. I never know what they're called. I'm sorry, I'm terrible. Yeah, all the stencil butters are in stock. Okay, good. I'm just reading through, making sure there are no things I'm missing. And I'm going to put the stencil down on my paper, and you can see that, I think. Yes. Yes. And I'm going to grab my butter spreader. Okay, so the cool thing about a butter spreader is it is 6 inches long. Our stencil is also 6 inches. And the palette pad is 6 inches. So kind of nice, everything sort of it works together. I'm not going to tape anything down because I just like to live life on the wild side. And let's see, I am going to pick up all 4 of these colors. They're on my palette, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of spread it a little bit. Here we go. I'm using my palette knife, spreading from end to end. Okay. So here it is. Here's my stencil. It is on my piece of paper. Let me slide these guys over. Okay. And the way I'm going to make sure I hold it. If you're not feeling comfortable, you can tape it at the top, because I'll jump ahead to what's going to happen. At the end, you're going to be lifting it up and rolling it back. So if it is taped a little bit at the top, that's perfect. Okay, I'm going to touch down, and then at a 45-degree angle, I am just going to spread the stencil butter. And notice there's still white places. the trick is not to overspread. Just like when you're buttering a cake, when you're frosting a cake with buttercream. Okay. And now I'm kind of coming down a little bit lower. It's maybe now instead of 45 degrees, I'm coming down to about 5 degrees. And am I almost, I think, let's see. That side just doesn't seem to have gotten enough going on. So I'm going to come over here and do a little bit. Okay, I cleaned it up a little bit. I still have stencil butter on here, and on my palette pad. And we will, don't worry, we will address that in a moment. But to get this off, I hold it down in one corner, and the opposite corner, I get my fingernail under there. This corner, here we go. I'm gonna hold it down here. Here we go. And I'm rolling it back. And there we go. Now this is dirty. I've got a little pan of water under my table. I'm gonna put it face down into my water. If I don't do that, then the stencil butter will dry on my palette. And you can get it off, but it does require some isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol is your friend, but you just don't want to call your friend that often. I'm just gonna clean up my surface of my board a little bit, just so that I don't end up transferring it to something else. Okay, I've got this thing going on over here. I kind of, if I had been a smart person, obviously I'm not, I would have cut this piece of paper and maybe used it a little smaller, but I am not that bright. I'm gonna let this dry just a little bit. You can kind of see how it still has dimension. It is not going to sink down. It's gonna keep all of that lovely, lovely dimension. But I've got stuff left over. I mean, I got this. So imagine this is now cut, and I'll trim it because, you know, I have a little overrun over here and a little smudge there, but that's why you trim things. And I mean, not only do you trim it, you could even die cut this. I have a really cool heart that I die cut out of this. Oh, nice, Jaime. So you can do a lot of cool things. But in the meantime, I've got stuff. So watch what I'm going to do. Let's see, I'm gonna come here. Oh yeah. I could just leave it like that. And again, this could be a nice little piece. Can you see that? Yeah. So I've got that, play with that a little bit. And just like my, all my tools, I do wanna give this a wipe or throw it into water. But like I said, if you forget, there's always alcohol. It cleans it all up, easy peasy. Okay, so we've got this, but let me get some more paper. We still have more yummy stuff on the palette knife and on the palette. Okay, it takes a while to dry. First it'll develop a skin over it, and sometimes if I want to just do a little painting, I can break through the skin and get underneath there. But before I do that, I think somebody asked about I just dip this sponge brush in some water, and so I'm going to just give it a little bit of a surface. I'm just putting some water on the surface, and then I think, let's see what happens if I just take all this that's on here and just, ooh, that's really pretty. That's pretty. I kind of like that. And then just to kind of like, let's say you just wanted to get some texture. So let me show you both of those. And these are going to dry exactly as you see it. So all of that texture, it will be just like that. You'll be able to, you know, run your finger across it, and yeah, you'll definitely feel it. I've sometimes, like if I've needed like some circles, I'll take my 1/2 inch or 1 inch circle punch, and I'll just cut a circle out of this or a circle out of this. If I just need a little something, just I want to emphasize something either on a card, or if I'm making a piece of art. So I can let it all dry. And then, so I started with it a little bit wet, and if you'll see, because it was wet, it didn't skip, it glided. So that's kind of fun there. Okay, so now it's got a little bit wet. Let me show you what it's going to look like if I dry my brush. Actually, sorry, I actually just dip my brush in water, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of the cornflower blue. So I'm picking a little bit up. I'm playing with my palette. This is kind of dirty. Normally I have like 17 palette knives waiting to be used, and today is not one of those days. So I'm gonna wipe this before it becomes solid. Normally I throw it into that little water bath that I have underneath the table, but I have to be a little more better about it. So now this, back to the cornflower blue. I just made a little bit of a mess on my palette, and now watch. I'll actually do it right here. Isn't that pretty? Very subtle. Actually, I'm gonna make some paper. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. Super subtle. Oh yeah, I can see it. It's a very, very subtle look. I'm actually gonna use this in 1 second. If it doesn't dry, I'm gonna hit it with the heat gun and dry it really fast. But there we go. Another sheet of paper, a little bit more water. I'm gonna pick up the orchid and the violet together. And again, you don't have to use a little tiny brush. I mean, I just the 1-inch one is the one that I grabbed. Now I'm picking up a little cornflower. And I'm just kind of squishing with my thumb to get a little more color action. And then here's the orchid. Can you see that? Let's see, make sure. I want to make sure I'm still in where you can see me. Yep. So this is often what I do when I've got leftover color. And I just make some paper. I might use just a little snippet. I might use a big piece. I might layer something else on top of it. But hang on, let's do that salt technique, just in case you've never seen that before. And you can play around with all different kinds of salt. There's sea salt, there's kosher salt. They're all different, and they have different, there we go. And you want it to be wet. And they have all different chunkiness and shape. Okay, it'll be quite striking. And notice I mean, it is wet. And that's, again, the reason that we're using watercolor paper is that it can take all of this wetness. I'm even dripping. And look, I'm even layering over the purple area. Woohoo! Okay. Drying my fingers. And my kosher salt. Okay. Put a little bit in my hand. Kosher salt is not big chunky granules. It's kind of fine, or at least this one is. And I am just dropping it in certain places. You can already see what's happening. The salt is wicking the water, and what happens, it's pulling the water in, and when it does that, the pigment kind of gets concentrated. So if you didn't see, hang on, if you missed that first part, we're gonna get this sort of effect. See this little guy here? Yeah. But you have to be patient, and you can see these were some big chunkies. Like what I should do, I mean, I have a whole bunch of different salts downstairs in the kitchen, but and you look at the little starbursts that you get. Come up a little closer. Isn't that awesome? Play around with different salt, different thicknesses. So you have to put this somewhere. What I always say, put it somewhere where kids and cats are not going to disturb it. I have a little spot, a little tiny spot. Okay, say a prayer. Say a prayer for my little tiny spot. And I'm gonna clean up a little bit. Okay. Let's see. So, oh, you never would have thought of using salt in your crafting, right? I know. Just checking anything that I've missed so far. Good. Okay. Seems like we're all together now. Now, I would keep going. If we weren't playing right now, I would make some more orchid paper, and I would make some blue paper, and I'd make some. I mean, let me while we're here, let me just show you on this one. I'm just gonna use my finger. Okay, here we go. Look at how opaque this is. I mean, sometimes I just make a whole big sheet of some opaque color because I might end up using this. Look at that. I might use it underneath. Let's say I do a saying, you know, with some cute little rubber stamp. It says, you know, I love you very much. And it's 3 inches long and, you know, maybe a 3/4 of an inch wide. And I will cut this little piece because that becomes my backer. Because sometimes I just cannot find a perfectly matching piece of cardstock. And so I've just made my own cardstock. And it's all matchy-matchy. So I will let this dry. And what I'll do is I'll just cut it and I'll put it into my my little purple drawer. And I'll save that. And since we're almost drying here, let me show you something really cool. I'm gonna grab my heat tool. Okay, I'm gonna turn it on. Let it warm up. Okay, watch this. You see that? You see that? That is called bubbling your butter. So the wetter the stencil butter is, the bigger the bubbles. The more time you've let it dry, the tinier, more effervescent the bubbles are. Let me see if I can, let's see if I have a sample. Oh yeah, okay. This is a sample of when, I think it was almost this, maybe the second day. Look at how itty bitty, teeny tiny those bubbles are. Let me see what happens. Actually, let me try it right here. When it's almost dry, the bubbles are really tiny. Hold on, let me, there we go. My heat tool was being bad. I'm gonna do this little section here. Oh, look at that. Itty bitty. See it going? So the thinner it is and the more it has dried, see right there? The thinner it is, the more it has dried, the tinier the bubbles. Look at how itty bitty teeny tiny those are. Really sweet. And then the wetter it is, here are these big mama hunker bubbles. And what I like to do sometimes, see I like to smush them after it cools a little bit. So I will sometimes, it'll be like beautiful, rounded, and it will dry that way, or you can squish them. I find it very satisfying to smush them, but I do like the texture. So that's bubbling your butter. Okay, I'm checking for any ideas, any questions. Woo, love the bubbles. So when you post something, obviously you need to put Courtney's store on there too. But if you also tag us, then we will share it. And our hashtag is TCW stencils. But if you bubble your butter, you have to hashtag bubble your butter. And so that's fun. Notice I just cleared off my my palette. Okay, so let me make sure this is completely dry. I don't want to be, nothing, your stencil does not like anything wet. So I'm just going to make sure this little soft blue area, I'm going to do the back of it. There we go. Normally, I would wait like a day, but I was being a little bit impatient. And it's such a pretty color. If you didn't see me do it, I just watercolored just a little bit of cornflower blue. Okay, we're gonna pray. We're gonna pray that that is perfect and beautiful. And we're going to make this fun card. And there's so many ways to love it and make it. Now, here's what it looks like in the store. So this stencil is the Lotus Bouquet. It is a layered stencil, and it's meant for an A2 card. Now, you know that an A2 card is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half and then folded in half. So 8.5 by 11 cut in half, folded in half is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, we all did that math. So if I want to put it onto a card, let me grab one. Here's half of a sheet of paper. Here's the A2. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, right? That's an A2 card. If I want this to now be on top of it and have a little border, I need to cut this just a little smaller. So for these, we say cut card layer 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to make myself a little card layer here. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, this needs to be. And let's just hope I don't get stencil butter on everything. I'll do this side. 5. So instead of 5 1/2, this is 5 1/4. I'm going to cut this. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, I got some stencil butter on there. Raise your hand if you knew that was going to happen. Hold on, wait. We got to clean up from Jamie's mess. 1 second. Okay, alrighty, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what I do. And let me just make sure it's completely dry. Okay. This is the wonders of television, right? Okay. And then this should be 4 and 4, just 4. 4 inches, just doing 4 inches. Okay, sliding it through, lining it up. I'm hoping that my math is correct. Okay, now I have a perfect sheet of paper, and I actually pre-cut some, but I didn't pre-cut these. I don't know if it's very hard to see, but it is like a beautiful summer day blue. I love it. Alrighty. So the thing about the stencil is that it has 4 parts to it. And you know you're looking at the right side when you tilt it to the light and you see 1, 2, and then 3, 4. And then I also made these nice little score marks so that when you do cut your stencil when you do cut your paper 4 by 5 1/4, this actually lines up right underneath it. So if you just keep lining it up with these little score marks, then you will keep having a really pretty card. I mean, you can kind of eyeball it too. This is not brain surgery, so I don't want you to feel like, oh, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to line it up. So don't think that way. So there are a few different things that you can do with these cards, and of course, you know, I had samples out, but you know, we wouldn't want to be able to find it or anything like that. Yeah. Does that ever happen to you? Like you are like, I've got this, and it's such a small area. Like, how can you possibly lose it? But let me just try one more. like it's not a big room, you know. Ah, I found it. Yay. Okay. Here's another example. Like, let's say you're not a messy girl and you just like to stick with using inks. Well, you do you. I get it. We have these wonderful blending brushes, and I'm going to show you a little bit, but look at how wonderful they are. They're very soft. They come in a medium size and a little baby size, and they come in a pack of 6. And it's something that Courtney is going to carry. So it's the blending brush. You can get 6 all medium, 6 all small, or you can get 3 medium, 3 small, but they come in a pack of 6. So just make sure she knows which one you want. And there we go. Okay, so what I did ahead of time is I just cut a piece of watercolor paper 4 inches by 5 1/4 because I was going to be ready. And I'm lining it up. Remember those score marks right there? Oh, did I just? Who knows what I just did? Or maybe I used it for something else? I do not know. Okay, well, hang on. This needs to be 4 inches. So we're just going to cut it right here because we have a handy, oh, that's right. 4 inches. How about 5 and a 5 1/4? Why don't we do that? That might be more. There we go. I sort of got these ready. I thought I got these ready. Oh, I did. Oh, I know what I did. You don't even want to know. Okay, so now it's 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. Here we go. So now I've lined it up, and it all fits nicey nice into its little spots, number 1. And you could just take you could just take your stencil, your blending brush, and you could, do something pretty there. But I was like, well, you know what? Why don't we take cornflower blue? We want to do cornflower? Yeah. So I decided, let's take cornflower blue, and let's take a sponge brush and just pick up a little bit. And we're just going to brush this right through these holes. And I'm going to dab a little bit off here. You could also use your palette pad. And I'm just going to quickly brush. Okay. Do. Happy. Pull it back. There we go. And again, even though I'm using a sponge brush, which if you had used paint, it would go underneath, because it's stencil butter, it doesn't. So you get this very nice crisp look. We did it very light. We didn't overdo it. I'm gonna stick that in water. We didn't, push it. We didn't spend 7 hours brushing it. And fast, easy, done. And I'm just going to take a paper towel, just drying it. And then we have this wonderful background, and I think this will be dry in 5 minutes, but since we don't have exactly 5 minutes, I did one ahead of time. This one is all set. And now you can take it and you line it up again. There we go, all lined up. See how it's all pretty? And I think to make it super easy, oh, I know, maybe I will do lime green. Just taking a little bit. Excuse me. Okay, and I have it all lined up. I'm gonna just at a 45-degree angle, just scrape it like that, scrape it like this. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, maybe it needs just a little bit of chartreuse. You ever had that feeling like maybe it just needs some chartreuse in here? I'm feeling that. So I'm gonna wipe off my palette knife and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of chartreuse, close it up, put it on the back, always on the bottom of the palette knife. And now I'm just going to kind of fill in any of those holes, and I'm also kind of blending it a little bit. Okay, see how that looks? And I'm going to hold it from the corner and peel it back. Ooh, pretty, 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 pretty. And while everything is sort of wet, grabbing a baby wipe and a paper towel. Easier said than done. Okay, I'm gonna put the paper towel underneath. Now, if you're at home, you could just run it under the water. No big deal, it comes right off, and dry it. But since I'm demoing and I want to make this all nicey nice for you, I'm trying to do it fast. Okay, and then also make sure that your surface is dry. Stencils don't like to get wet. All right, we're ready. So what I would do is either wait for this to dry or hit it with the heat tool and then move on to the next color. Hang on, let me try this. There we go. Making sure everything's clean in between. Okay, we've got this part. And then the next part, I'm gonna put it aside. We're gonna do the wonders of TV. The next part is the flower. And I just did that with some ink. So here's the flower. I did it with a medium light iris color. Okay, pretty. And now for the last part, to give it a real pop in the middle, the actual bulbs of the flower, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to line it up. And this is truly mixed media. You are mixing media when you do this. And I am going to use, I think I decided eggplant. I feel like eggplant kind of goes with this. It's kind of pretty. Or pop of orchid. It's a tough one. Let me see. Anybody? I see somebody hunting. What do we think? We think orchid? It's kind of pretty too. Oh gosh. And then there's also hydrangea. So many choices. Maybe hydrangea and orchid sort of together. I think I might do that. Okay. When you can't decide, you can have both. So I'm taking a little bit of the hydrangea and I'm going to take a little bit of the orchid. I'm putting it on my palette pad. There we go. I almost thought about maybe putting white too, but it might get lost. So I'm gonna kind of keep it sort of simple. Let's see, you can see that. Good, good, good. And then we're going to bubble it. So hang on, I know we're getting close to the end. I'm gonna pick up both of these colors. Now notice it's on the bottom and I've got the orchid and the hydrangea both on here. And I'm going to put it down at a 45-degree angle. I'm gonna do these big flowers first. So let's see. Go at a 45-degree angle, and I'm not overplaying with it. Notice that? Now, this is kind of dark, right? So now I'm going to pick up a little more of the hydrangea. Now I have a little more hydrangea going on there, and I'm going to just, I thought it would be a little bit lighter. It kind of is. Got more of the light thing going on. I'm going to pick up a little more hydrangea, just a little bit of the other color, orchid, and okay, I'm done. I'm done. Don't play with it. I know you want to. Don't play. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is, this is the part where I call it like taking off the tops of the mountains. Don't do that. Hold it down with one finger, pick it up from the opposite corner and roll it. See how I just did that? So I rolled it away. Ooh, I am happy. I love that. Hang on, I'll let you kind of stare at that. Let me just clean up my mess. I'm just gonna clean up quickly, get the goo off, and get underneath. If you're gonna make this like assembly line, you do have to wash and dry in between. Otherwise you will transfer, the color onto your next project. Okay, this is, I'm gonna put that aside. Oh me, oh my. Okay, love this. I love how it's got dimension. I love how that pops. And now you're kind of wondering, well, what about using the heat tool and bubbling it? Oh yes. So I'm thinking I will bubble these little flowers. It's very wet right now, so it's going to bubble really big time. So I'm going to show you that, and then I'll show you. This is the one that I did a while ago, and you can see I waited for everything to dry. So the bubbles are teeny tiny, but now we're going to do it with very, very wet. Okay. Don't blink, you might miss it. Ooh. I know, that's fun. And so it's still pretty wet. So it's so wet that it comes up and it sometimes falls back down. So you could actually come back to this in 5 minutes or 10 minutes and give it another zap, and you'll get, if you don't squash them like I was doing, they will stay big and fluffy like this. And then where it's starting to dry, you'll then get teeny tiny little effervescent bubbles. So you kind of get a mixed effect there. And then the cool thing, I was going to use this as one of my backgrounds, but like, let's say, oh, where's my background paper? Hold on. If you wanted to grab some of your purple paper, here, remember this piece that I showed you? This is orchid. Now look, if I mounted it, it's still a little wet, so I'm being careful. If I had a bigger piece, look at how I could mount that and then put it onto a card. Pretty, 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 right? And it's very matchy-matchy, which, look, I am a product of the 80s. I really do like matchy-matchy. I'm not going to deny that. So I know we're getting ready to call it a day, but I did want to just show, I brought a whole bunch of samples. This is going to be like a power show and tell, okay? All right, don't look away. I'm just drying my my palette knife. Okay, this is a power session. Which way did I do it? Ah, okay. Oh, I see. So, I mean, I thought we'd get a chance to do this cool stencil. This is 1070S. So with the ombre, I was going to do a whole lot of ombre stuff. Didn't get to it, sorry. By the way, we are going to do this again on June. I had a Post-it note and it fell, I think. Courtney, can you put in the chat when I'm coming again in June? That would be lovely if you could do that, Anna. This is my stars, and it is TCW 1051S. And just to show you, this is ombre with the stars and with some of our words. This is white on white with a rubber stamp. Remember I showed you, oh, look, you can scrape it and then you can put a word. Yeah, this is scraped. Look at that. This is scraped. These are some words that we sell in a big 8.5 by 11. And then I just put some embellishments and some ribbon. And it's on a, what is it called? Slimline. Oh, okay. Look, see, I'm not as dumb as I thought I was. Here is an example of where I watercolor scraped and I tore it and then I colored it a little bit. Okay, so that's how I did this part. And then this is watercolored and this background is painted, and then these words are here. We have a whole bunch of words. This is TCW 1073S, and it's got hello beautiful, sending love, thank you, thinking of you, some more stars. Okay, and now we get into some, so here are the cards that are the lotus bouquet. Right here. So we did a few of these cards. They're fun. But now, I know you're going to ask me which ones these are. I have no idea. This is another one. Look at these two different ways of doing it. This is all with ink pads. This is with sponged stencil butter. This is with stencil butter a little bit bubbled. Just the difference of colors. You're my cup of tea. This is done with ink pads. And then this one was done with stencil butter and a little bit, and the fun thing is if you have a permanent pen or a gel pen, you can then go on top of it and add a little bit of that. But look at all this detail, and look at, I bubbled the little butterflies. If you love a nice tropical background, this is all with ink pads. And again, with the ink pads, how fun would it be to have a very comfortable blending brush? These are wonderful. They sit really nicely in your hand. Or maybe you want to do it and sponge with stencil butter. Now, when you're doing stencil butter for all 4 layers, you have to let the layers dry in between. So this is a, a project that you do throughout the week. Oh, these are just our little lemons. Also, it's a 4-part, and you can see I used ink pads in the background, but then on top, I did the stencil butter. So again, mixed media. For those of you who love under the sea motifs. And if you're wondering what's all that shimmer going on with the thank you and hello beautiful, that's our tacky when dry with our foils. And that is what we're doing in June. And I'm just trying to see if let's see, down there. No. Oh, there we go. Hold on. June 17th. Woo! Coming back June 17th. This is Thanks a Bunch. I just showed you that on the little stencil, but then this is also a layered stencil. For that special guy, this is the maybe Deer in Woods. This is a wonderful stencil, 4-part. This is a fun dragonfly. This is a great border. You could put something, I love you, I miss you, sending condolences, little birdies on a branch, some hydrangea, thanks a bunch, sending love. But again, look at, so that all different layers, all different texture. There's some foil going on in here. Woohoo! So really, really fun stuff. Let's see. I want to say goodbye. Ha ha ha. Let's see if I can do this. Dude. You can't turn your phone. Okay, I won't turn my phone. It said do not turn your phone. I'm learning. I'm getting there. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, got it. I will be back June 17th. I hope you'll join. If you have any questions, Courtney is your girl. She will take care of you. Don't forget to love us on Instagram and on Facebook. If you make anything beautiful, if you pull out all of your stencil butters and you make a big mess, I want to see that. And I'll catch you on the 17th. Thanks for coming.